Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Cancer is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It is totally free, doesn't cost you anything. If there's anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Cancer, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we've got a Princess of Wands to start us out. This energy can be a little bit impulsive. I feel like we got the itch for something right now. You know, like we really have this, there's this feeling that I don't really care what I do as long as I'm doing something. You know, there's this restlessness. There's a feeling that we just cannot sit still right now. Yeah. And I don't know if you're being kind of made to wait for something, or if we're just having a difficult time trying to figure out what we want to really let loose on, right? What we want to put our energy into. This is one of those kinds of, it's a buildup of this power, this energy, this creative force that sometimes can kind of devolve into anxiety. Right? Because we have all of this energy and this will to do something, but what are we doing? What do we want to do? Right? Let's put this into some context and see what are we using this kind of, it's a real excitement right now, right? Let's see what else we get. We got a Nine of Pentacles. Well, that could be very good. You're putting your efforts maybe into a lot of different side projects, side hustles, right? Maybe different projects that you've been working on or that you've been wanting to work on. Yeah. There's the Fool. Oh, there's the relief and the release of some of this pent-up energy. But we also have that discipline of that Emperor. And this is a very good combination of cards, these two. All right. The Fool needs a little bit of discipline. Yeah, in order to really manifest what we put our energy into. And I think that this combination with the Nine of Pentacles is showing that whatever you do put your effort and energy into, make sure that it's something that's going to bring you more of what you want in life. Make sure there's a purpose to it, you know? Oh gosh, another major arcana, the Eon card. Judgment card, rebirth, reawakening. This is a baptism by fire. This is really the doorway to a new era for you. So I wonder if you're feeling some sort of this, an accumulation of energy, and it's really about to let loose into this really, really productive phase of your life. More fire. Five of Wands. We got to learn how to turn off this Princess of Wands before it gets us into trouble, right? This is, again, very impulsive. This is an energy that really doesn't care what it's doing as long as it's doing something. And so there's a lot of mischief. There's a lot of risk here. Okay. And that's why we've got to have the discipline of the Emperor, and we've got to have the self-regulation of the Five of Wands in order to make sure this Princess of Wands takes us straight up through this gateway into this brilliant future. Okay. So it is a period of very intense productivity for you. Everything that you're putting your efforts into is growing your life, growing your business, whatever it is that you're doing, right? Here we've got the Magician card, another great major arcana energy. A 7. You'll have to excuse my voice today. We're coming off of this chest cold again. We do have a 3-year-old in the house, right? Our daughter. And so she kind of tends to bring home a lot of these germs and stuff from her preschool, and we end up getting a little bit of a chest cold. You know, she's fine, but her mom and I kind of get it a little bit. So we've got the 7 of Swords, and that really is kind of what we started out talking about with the Princess of Wands, kind of wanting to know what direction to take. And it really needs discipline and some kind of order, some kind of self-control and regulation in order to make this really work for us, okay? This card is all about us trying to find the right path forward with this energy. And we've got the Death card and a Five of Swords. Yeah. The one thing that I think is getting in your way of this is really successful, really productive energy. Over here, we see a little bit of hesitation. We see a little bit of self-doubt. We see a little bit of this, it's not so much distraction with the Seven of Swords. It's more like trying to pick a road and stick to it. Yeah, trying to commit ourselves to something. And I think you do that, but then I think we kind of have this fear of missing out sort of vibe, you know, where we pick one path for this fiery, disciplined energy, what we want to put all of our talent and energy into. But then we start thinking with this Death card, wow, but if I commit to this thing, then I'm going to miss all those other fun things that I could be doing. You know, and I think the problem with you, Cancer, if it's a problem, is that you're multi-talented, right? You've got that Fool energy underneath everything. This is raw talent. This is natural talent, right? And then the Magician is the refined skill. These two cards together are genius level. This is, you're going to be the biggest thing, the best thing since sliced bread, right? Because you have the raw talent and you've got the skill to go with it. This is the winning combination, big time, right? You've got to invoke this Emperor energy and have this self-regulation and this discipline, because all of this wonderful raw talent and all of this skill and learning ability and your ability to concentrate is not going to give you this breakthrough success if we can't, you know, focus it on something. If we can't pick a lane and then exclude some other things in order to narrow it down, right? The energy that is required to succeed brilliantly, I mean, just worldwide kind of success in one or two or three things, is dissipated when we have all of these kind of starts and stops. We have these doubts. We have this fear of missing out, where it's just we commit to this thing, but then it's like, well, maybe I would really have more fun doing this with my life, you know? And it's a good problem to have, because it means that anything you commit yourself to, you're going to be a huge success. Okay? These two, this combination of fire and earth really says that anything that you touch is going to prosper. Any path you choose, a career path, a spiritual path, a relationship, a love, a family kind of thing, maybe you're retired. Maybe this is you really finding the right avenue for you now in your retirement years, right? What is your purpose? What are you committing yourself to? Whatever that is going to be very prosperous. Okay? You're going to be living your best life. If we can invoke, primarily I think it's this Emperor energy that we need in order to really have that discipline to commit, to make the choice and to commit to one or two or three, whatever paths, not every path. It's not that we commit. And I always use the analogy of me trying to find a book to read, right? I've got hundreds of books in my library, and I get a half an hour maybe to read in the evenings, and I'll be looking through my books and I'll think, oh, this one, I really want to read this one. And then I'll start to read it, but then I'll have a little bit of that doubt and a little bit of that fear of missing out that just says, gosh, I really would like to read that other book over there, you know, like maybe I'm into an astrology book or a psychology book or some like gothic horror fiction or something. And I think, oh gosh, yeah, this is good, but that one over there, that's what I really want to do. I'll put that book down and I'll go start this one. I'll read a couple pages and be like, yeah, I don't know, maybe over here, maybe I want to read some more Castaneda or something. Before I know it, my half an hour is up and I've not accomplished anything. I haven't read a single thing. Right? And so that's the kind of, it's not distractedness. I don't know exactly what to call it, right? But you have so many passions in you. You want so many different things. You're so good at so many things. You have this, again, this raw talent that you could be successful doing anything. How do you pick? And I feel like a lot of people have this problem with college and university, right? Trying to narrow down your life path. What major? What are you going to major in? What are you going to do? What's your career going to be? I don't know. And I think that's a really good aspect of these two cards, the Princess of Wands and the Fool, is experimentation. You got to wander around. You got to just see where you kind of fit, see what you really like, see what really calls to you and grabs you and grips you and makes you want to commit to things to the level of really this kind of success. This is you becoming a master at something, becoming an international sensation at something, but only if you find the thing and commit to it and have the discipline and the self-regulation. Now it's important to know, well, let's select the mystery card here. Let's get this out of the way. This is going to be one random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. And it's just going to go right over here. Tiny Bob Ross right there on top. Happy little Bob. Right next to slightly less tiny Bob Ross. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. All right. But it will tie everything together, and it will give us our confirmation. Now, if at any point during this reading you feel like you know what that card is, I want you to put your prediction down in the comments. All right. We'll do it together. We'll make it an interactive group exercise of intuition. Okay, let's look around. We've got major, 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 major. We've got fire. We don't have any water. We've got air, and we've got a little bit of earth. So the fact that we don't have any water is this idea that we don't really know what that purpose is. We don't know what we're meant to do with our lives. And maybe you do. Maybe you have an idea, and that's something that I think is going to really help you to have this, even if it's just a general idea of kind of what direction sort of you want to take your path right now, whether you're in school, whether you're retired, it doesn't matter. Right now at this moment, where's your life headed? Right? Do you have an idea of what your kind of holy grail is? Well, we have to commit ourselves to that. Now, I'm hoping the mystery card is either an Ace of Cups, maybe the Lover's card, right? Maybe the Chariot, maybe your Power card would be good. Because what we need is the ability to commit to something even when we reach that phase where we're not really having fun anymore. You know, you commit to, it's like me when I read a book. I'll open a book, the first few pages, I'm like, I'm just in heaven, this is wonderful. But then I get into it and it starts going through some boring chapters or some difficult material. And that's when I start to think, maybe I picked the wrong book. No, you got to power through it. That's the Five of Wands. Powering through something even when you reach that inevitable phase where your mind, that part of your ego or whatever, just starts saying, this is boring, this is dumb, let's do something else. I'm not smart enough to understand this, or this isn't the right path, I made a mistake. Let's do something else. Because the ego and the Princess of Wands likes that initial rush, likes that adrenaline of starting something new. The first few pages of a book, the first few months of a relationship, or the first few days of a new job, let's say. Whatever it is, likes that initial excitement. But then once that wears off and the tedium sets in, that's when you need the self-regulation to say, yeah, I'm in that boring phase, but if I push through, if you push through that kind of boring, difficult, painful phase, you're going to reach this extraordinary breakthrough, mastery of this thing, right? And see, it's very much one of these situations where the raw talent and the skill are only a small percentage of what it means to be successful. The success comes from the discipline to go through those boring days, day after day after day, the routine of it, to continue. You know, you can't become a great musician if you only play when it feels good to play, or you only play those things that really just kind of give you that euphoric, blissful feeling. No, you have to go through the hours and hours and hours of the tedious drill and practice and learning all the technical things. No matter how much raw talent you have, it's that daily practice, it's that discipline that really makes a difference, right? And so I think you've got that. All of this, the last 15 minutes, just to say, you have all of these things. You've got your Emperor, you've got your Five of Wands, you certainly have the raw talent and the skill. So maybe now we just need to find that Ace of Cups. We need to pick the thing we want to commit to and then commit to it. through the good days and the bad days, the ups and the downs, all the self-doubt, all the moments of failure, the moments of thinking, especially with the 5 of Swords here at the end. Through all those moments of thinking, God, I suck at this. Keep going. Push through. Unless you have, of course, this really kind of major, this major revelation that it's not the right path for you. But you have to learn to see the difference between just the ego or the mind saying, this is boring, I want to do something else, because we want that excitement, or if this is really something coming from your soul and your spirit that says, okay, this really isn't the right path. How do you know? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. It's subjective. You'll know. But you have to ask yourself the question, is this just ego saying this, or is this really something that's a truth, that's an essential part of me, that this is not the right thing to do. This is not what I need to be doing with my time, But let's talk about some more of these cards. The Emperor energy here, yes, that is the discipline. I think that you had I think you had an interesting relationship with your father, right? Because your father had a lot of, it feels like a dad energy anyway. Your dad had a lot of natural talent, was good at things, was probably highly intelligent, very skilled, probably had a lot of different jobs and things when you were growing up. Now, maybe it's not dad, maybe it's grandpa, maybe it's an older sibling. It's the male energy, the paternal type of energy that kind of was around while you were growing up. Okay. But they didn't have that kind of discipline to commit to one thing and push it to the very end, to make it the absolute, greatest success that they were capable. I guess we could say they were an underachiever because they didn't have that discipline. Okay? And so I think that probably this paternal energy had these moments, these periods of time where they made a lot of money, they seemed very successful, but they didn't have the discipline to keep it together. Once it got boring, right, or once it got too tedious, they moved on to something else, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, everybody has this kind of, this choice. We have our own will, and we can follow what we think is the right path for us. But I think you noticed this. You kind of even maybe had the thoughts at certain times that said, gosh, Dad, if you would have just stuck with that for a little bit longer, you'd be the greatest thing. You'd be set for life, But it was always they'd always abandon things before they really hit that point of what we're saying is that breakthrough, that kind of, international fortune and fame kind of thing. They'd always just say, yeah, I'm on to something else. I'm over it now. Right. And with the Fool energy here, I can see how that is also kind of part of your nature. You like to do many different things. You have talent for a lot of different things. You're probably a good musician. You're probably very well read. You probably can really learn things very quickly. Physical techniques and skills. You're probably good at sports. You're probably good at, all sorts of things. I don't even know. It's hard to narrow something down like that to the exclusion of all these other things. And that's pure Fool energy. The Fool is a 0, does not identify with anything, likes to do new things. I want to try doing this because I can be in that zone and I think you can be good at it. But it's everything. Nothing sticks. We're not identified with anything. You see? Experience flows through us, and we are just there to be wow, that was an experience. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good experiences, but it's that kind of wandering energy where we just want novelty. We want new things. I want to do something new to see if I'm good at it. Well, in your case, Cancer, I think you're usually pretty good at it. And again, this is kind of a good problem to have, But we combine that, of course, with our Princess of Wands, and it's a lot of starts and then a lot of stops, right? But all along the way, you're still gaining a lot. You're gaining a lot of experience. And so it seems to me that maybe when we come over here to this Fool card, the Fool comes over here to this Magician card, Maybe this is the refinement. Maybe this is what's going on. Look at this. Maybe the discipline, the emperor, regulating the fool, creates that kind of master magician, the adept, the true master here, in control of all of your skills and talents, and can focus all of this energy in the right direction. And the right direction, of course, is whatever spirit, whatever your soul is kind of pushing you toward. It's very subjective, right, what the right direction is. But I really think emperor plus fool equals magician. The discipline for this kind of curiosity and this kind of natural talent equals this refinement and this ability to concentrate and focus. There's no law that says you can't do a million different things and be internationally successful for all of those million different things. We have to learn a little bit of time management. And sometimes this Eon card is all about time management, right? Because this is saying that, look, we want to enter a new era of life. And I don't know if this is kind of, a transition from school to the workforce, or from work to a retirement thing, or if this is you kind of shifting careers, or if you're in this kind of phase, this in-between state, where you are searching for that Holy Grail. And I kind of believe that you've found it. And I kind of feel like this is everything going on in that moment, where it's like you realize that now you have to kind of step it up, that we're evolving here. We're going through this doorway. We're making a choice to commit to something and see it through till the end. See how much potential is here, right? This is major. And I think it's going to be more than you dreamed of. I think if you commit all of these wonderful energies, we have so many good cards here for you. And if you commit all of these energies to this path, this project, this effort, I think it's going to exceed your wildest expectations. Now, there is, of course, with the Pentacles, there is a financial component. I think that you've always been very good at making money. I think that you've probably, even yourself, you've had a lot of different jobs, and yeah, you'd get a job, and within a few months you'd get promoted. Maybe you're like a manager, and they want to offer you more and more and more. So the money's not an issue, but there's a certain point where you get offered a promotion and you just say, I don't want it, right? And then you end up quitting. Maybe even the fool kind of kicks in a little bit, and you do something intentional to kind of like burn that bridge, like you just intentionally, or maybe it's kind of unconscious, but you just start slacking off, or you just kind of, you stop showing up a little bit, or you just start goofing off a little bit too much. And then that's when you realize, okay, this connection is kind of, it's disintegrating, right? So I kind of feel that's a little bit of that energy, right? Whereas if you would have committed, and if you would have married yourself to that job, you could be the CEO by now, right? But you didn't want it. You didn't want it that deeply. Yeah. Even though you could have. You have the natural talent and the skill that, yeah, you could have owned that company. But there was a point where you realized, and I think it's when you get offered that big, and we kind of look at that with the Eon card. You get offered that big promotion. Do you want this? You want to be the manager of this department. You want to be the vice president. And you think, gosh, if I take this, then I really am committed here. Like this is the moment where I have to decide, is this me? Is this my identity? Is this my life? And I think that kind of sometimes scares us. And then we say, no, I don't want it. And then we end up, burning the bridge a little bit, or a lot of it. And then we move on to the next thing, and that's okay. That's totally fine. Because we're on that quest to find, what is that one thing that I want to commit? What is it that I do identify with? And again, the problem with the Fool is there is no identity. We don't know what to commit to. The Fool doesn't want to commit to anything. No one says you have to, either. Okay? This could be the right way to do life. Yeah? Who's to tell you any differently? It's your life. You live it how you want to live it. Let's go to the path of the serpent. The video's getting kind of long already. I'd like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Totally free. Costs you nothing. Okay? Except a little bit of time, I guess, to come and watch the readings. So we start with the magician here. And this kind of energy is just amazing energy. Whatever you commit yourself to is going to be off the charts, right? This is going to be more than you dreamed of. It's directly proportional to how much energy you put into it. The more you commit to it, the more you identify with something, the more successful you will be at it, okay? And the only issue that we're running into is, don't know what I want to do exactly. And that's okay. There's absolutely no rush. Maybe we'll see that kind of identity coming with this mystery card. We'll see. But the Magician is, again, one of these energies that can concentrate. You have the ability to really focus all of this wonderful energy on anything you want. And when you do that, great things happen beyond your wildest dreams, right? And you've noticed that. You've noticed that happening. But then there comes a point where we get a little, I don't know what I want anymore. It's kind of like there are too many options in the world. You know, there are too many choices. And that's the Seven of Swords. Sometimes this card is about mental blockages. Sometimes it's about distractions. Sometimes it's about people with negative opinions. It's all of these energies around us that try to throw us off that straight and narrow path. See, we want to be on that Ace of Swords. We want to have certainty and clarity. We want to be going straight forward, staying in our lane. Our course is definite, and we're in that groove, and nothing can push us outside of that. And that's what we want, usually, or at least that's what we think we want. But then there's always something that tries to push us off of our course. A strong wind comes in, and pretty soon our boat's turned around. Or there are other things that we see, that we witness. We see other people doing other things, and we think, maybe I want to do that instead. There's always going to be something to push you off of this Ace of Swords. Okay? And it really is up to you how you choose to deal with that. If you try to block it out and say, nope, I'm staying the course. Or if you say, yeah, the heck with it. I'm going to go over here and start doing that thing. You know, maybe you're going to start rock climbing. Maybe that's going to be your thing. Maybe you're going to get your pilot's license or something. I don't know. And that's okay. That's perfect. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that. But we have to understand the potential that we have when we focus on something, when we commit to something. It really can blow you. You could be the best at it. But we have a difficult time figuring out what to commit to. We got the Death card here. This is in the position of what we don't want. And we don't want to lose something. We don't want to miss out on something. And yeah, this card is about the greater picture, the larger transformation of your life. The more of these starts and stops, more of these projects we go through, the more experience the Fool encounters, right, and kind of filters through. We don't think anything's really sticking, but really it is, because we're not just the Fool energy, right? We're not just a zero. So some things are sticking. We are accumulating experience, accumulating karma, accumulating thoughts and feelings, and a lot of energy. Okay. So we are growing and evolving, and I think there is a point where you realize that it's time to focus on that one thing and figure out what you're going to really commit yourself to. Yeah. Because this, again, has this feeling of kind of missing out on. If I commit to one thing, all of these other things I'm not going to get to do. And the problem here is that there is so much that you're good at. Again, so much you want to do, so much that you feel passionate about. Things you don't even know about yet. Once you hear the word, you'll be, oh, I love that. I want to do that. You know, and that's such a wonderful energy to have. That's such a zest and a lust for life. You don't want to lose that, right? So how do we balance this out, right? How do we really kind of narrow things down, but also not limit ourselves? Yeah, it's not easy. I don't know the answer. I do see this Five of Swords at the end here. And this is, in a lot of ways, this is some doubt that sometimes creeps in. Now, I don't. At the beginning, I was thinking that this is that part of your mind that says, "Oh, I can't do. I'm not good at this." I don't think that's it. I think this is that part of the mind that says, "This is boring. I don't want to do this anymore." This is that part of your mind that says, "This, you don't want to be this person." Like if this is you get a job in sales and you start doing so good, selling cars or something. There's that part of your mind that says, "I don't want to be that salesman. I'm not a salesman. That's not my identity." Right? So we have to start thinking about, why do we identify so much with our employment or our career or how we make money, right? I think whatever you're doing for the majority of your time in your life, that's what you identify with. Whatever you're experiencing the most is what you identify with. And so we've got to deal with that in whatever way we can, and perhaps get out of this idea that we have to identify that we are what we do. If you do car sales for a living, that you are the car salesman. No, that's not you. You are the emptiness. You are pure spirit. Right? You are pure spirit. And selling cars is not all you are, or not all you do. Right? So it's a mental thing of what we identify with. And I think we get so attached to this idea that, I do like data entry all day on the computer. Well, that's me. That's my identity. I am a data entry specialist person. But we choose what to identify with. And sometimes that choice is an unconscious choice where we have to bring some awareness to what we're choosing and how we're identifying with what we're doing. All of this really to say that whatever you are committing yourself to, whatever you're focusing your energies on right now, it's going to be more than you dreamed of. But just be careful about these other energies creeping in, and this idea of missing out or of identifying with things, this idea of the distractions and all of these things. Let's look at the mystery card. I'd like to see this be some water energy or your power card, the Chariot card. If you have a prediction, put it down in the comments. It's the Death card again. Interesting. Well, the Death card is a little bit of water. And I think in some ways what this is talking about is you needing to go through this process. You have to do a million different things. And it's by a process of elimination that you realize, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. Maybe you want these things, you want to do these things, you have fun doing them, you're good at them, but you are not the things that you do. You are maybe how you do them and why you do them, but not what you're doing. Right? You're not an object, right? So I think that this is the process by which we come to that realization. We do a million different things. We wear many different hats. We try a million different jobs. And each time we throw it away and we say, I'm not that job. And so over time, we're evolving this understanding of how we identify ourselves. Are we identifying with what we're doing, or how we're doing it, or the why of it all? So it's really a process of self-discovery, of stripping off layers. We accumulate stuff, we put on a costume, and then we realize, I'm not this character. I'm just wearing a costume, right? And so we take it off and we try to find, well, who am I really? Yeah. So it becomes very philosophical. And I don't want us to lose sight of the really, really wonderful breakthrough success that is coming for whatever you are committing yourself to. But beware that it is a search for identity. Okay? And be aware of how you are identifying with this particular project or this work that you're engaged in. And is this something that you want to stick with? Because if you do, you're going to have this, it's going to be more than you dreamed of. All right. And we're going to do an extended reading too. If you want to stick around, there's a link in the corner. There's one down below. New readings for Cancer every Tuesday and Friday. I'm here every day. You can come back and see me again tomorrow. I will be here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. Leave a comment for me. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.